We gotta yap first.
No, I'm big. Listen. Don't go see Lilo and Stitch. Go see this movie instead.
Yeah, no.
I cannot stress enough.
But Lindsey, Lilo and Stitch 2 is gonna be what brings us all together.
All together. This movie did what Lilo and Stitch tried to do, but better.
Like, oh my god.
So good.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.
Paz e felicidade a todos.
Audigiano.
सब लोगों ने मारो राम राम पहुँचे हमें अठे राजी खुशी हाँ तुम उठे राजी खुशी रह जाओ.
Salutări la toată lumea. Здравствуйте, приветствую вас.
Želimo vam sve najlepše sa naše planete.
Welcome back to the Kill Your Normie podcast, where we talk about geek culture and pop culture and get deep on the things we love, because yes, it is that deep. And in this case, it really was.
Yeah, oh my god.
Oh, that was such a good movie. This is probably our quickest turnaround yet.
Yeah. We saw it, like, I think 2 hours ago?
Yeah, we saw Elio 2 hours ago.
Walked out of the theater.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
So, you said walked out of the theater like it was bad.
No. Like, walked out of the theater, changed as human beings.
Yes. It was so good.
Holy shit.
I don't know what the heck the general audience is doing, but
go see this. Like,
go
okay,
see Elio.
We're gonna spoil the entire movie for you, so, like, if you haven't seen it yet, just go see it. Buy a ticket right now. That's your homework.
Go buy a ticket right now.
Now.
Turn it off. Pause the podcast. Go buy a ticket.
Go buy a ticket now.
This is the only time we will shill.
Or if you're watching this like months later, watch it on streaming.
And if you haven't seen it yet,
oh my god, it's so good.
It's so good. I just want to get right into it. I don't even want to yap that much, so we'll do real quick headshots, hyperfixations.
All right, my hyperfixation this week. I just came back from a weekend-long trip with my to my friend's house, and he introduced me to the video game, the board game, Villainous.
Yes, you will not stop.
Which I will not stop yapping about. So the board game Villainous, which is a strategy card game based on all the Disney villains. It is such a good time. We spent like probably a total of 4 to 5 hours playing just different villains. I still have not beat him on Steamboat Pete, but I'm trying. My favorite is Dr. Facilier, and then literally I did a 4-hour drive back, didn't even stop at home, went to Barnes & Noble, bought a pack for myself. So, and very good.
I was there and I didn't even notice. That's how quickly in and out.
Literally in and out. My wallet broke during that, but we are fine. But yeah, no, very, very good board game. If you like strategy board games, go pick it up, get the Ursula box. It's very, very good. All right, your turn.
My turn. Okay, so this is... it's not really a headshot it's more of a hyperfixation. Actually, it's a mix of both. So, this morning, because it's been a very busy day, I went online and had to go through Eras Tour ticket flashbacks to purchase tickets for Masquerade NYC, which, for those who don't know, is going to be an immersive production of Andrew Lloyd Webber's The Phantom of the Opera. We all know, if you've been listening, I am a massive Phantom fan.
You're a Phantom girly.
I'm a Phantom girly. I was dying to know about this. It was like limited availability, only runs 6 weeks. It requires you to dress up, which is really fun. So I got a nice matinee time on August 3rd, so I'm very excited. There were 1,300 people in front of me. I am shocked I was able to get tickets. But from what I can tell, it seemed like it was all the same price. Like, they said tickets started at like a certain amount, and I didn't see anything else.
You didn't have to pick seats or anything, did you?
No, because it's a walkthrough.
Oh, okay.
So you move around.
Oh, right.
So I was like, I don't see how you could charge more.
I mean, I could see how you could charge less if he actually, kills you with the chandelier.
Yeah. I mean, listen, because someone asked me, they were like, what is your, like, wish list for an immersive Phantom? And I was like, well, I have to almost die by the chandelier. I have to ride in the boat. I want to see his basement apartment. Maybe just, like, there's no Christine and all the parts are sung by me. Maybe, like, he almost gets me with the Punjab lasso, like, almost strangles me to death. You need to feel some danger.
A little bit, yeah. A
little bit of danger. So that
with
is...
a safe word.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so that is my thing for this week. All right, let's just get into it. It's Elio. Elio came out on June 30th, so we are a little late to it, but we were on vacation, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, like, a good Pixar movie like that in a while. Not that, like, ones that have come out recently haven't been good, but they've all been sequels, so we already are invested in these characters.
With the exception of, like, maybe, like, Elemental.
And
then there was a lot
I love Elemental.
There was a lot of movies that also just, like, they just dropped on streaming very unceremoniously. Like, Turning Red dropped on streaming. That was, like, right after COVID, though, so it's kind of understandable, but Turning Red was also very good. But again, they just put it on streaming with kind of very little marketing.
Yeah. I mean, luckily it found its people, like...
I love Turning Red.
Turning Red's so good.
But, yeah, it's just... Oh my god. Ellie, like, we literally just kind of, like, sat there for a second and we're just like, holy shit.
What... Just fantastic movie. Really quick, let's just give, like, a quick little, like, what the premise of the film is. So, Elio is about a little boy who has, lost his parents. He's being raised by his aunt, who works for the space program. And Elio, at a very young age, gets very interested in life on other planets.
Yep.
And makes him a bit of an outsider.
For lack of a better term, he's very alienated.
Yes. I think they did that quite well. So he keeps begging for aliens to try to just come and take him away.
And then they do.
And he makes some friends and some enemies along the way.
And we learn something about each other.
And we all learn about something each other. So what, like, we kind of, like, we're trying to figure out how to structure this. It's such a quick turnaround. Some of this is probably just going to be word vomit, just because it's such a whirlwind. But what do we typically expect from a Pixar film?
Well, I've recently rewatched all the Pixar movies, and then we also rewatched Ratatouille recently.
Yeah.
Usually we expect weird premise with a good story.
Yes.
Because, I mean, we have Ratatouille, which is, what if rats have feelings? You have Inside Out, what if feelings had feelings? Just weird premise, good story. And, like, weirdly good story.
Yeah.
And also just, like, there are going to be a few moments that are going to make you sob. Yes. Like a little baby.
Yep.
And that's basically about what we expect, usually.
Yeah. And I can't say, like, especially the tearjerker stuff, because I remember, like, in the mid-2010s, Pixar, it was, like, you were bawling. Like, movie after movie after movie, that became, like, its reputation. And then I do feel like for a little while, I felt like I was going and wasn't really being that impacted. So this was the first time in a while where I was, like, wiping tears away. Not even just getting a little misty, like, wiping tears.
3 separate times. Yeah. I mean, I think about also, like, especially recently, they have a lot of really, really good cultural stories. There were some cultural aspects of Elio where, like, he is very clearly from a Mexican family. It's not necessarily, like, a super important part of the plot, but it's like you see, like, they have the dead shrine and stuff like that around him, in his house. But it's just, I don't know, with Pixar, it's always very, very personal. And Elio also seemed like it came from a very, very personal place. But yeah, that's usually what we expect, outside of the sequels, at least. Let's say, for the originals, this is what we expect.
Yes. Yeah, this was, like, one of the first things I've really, like, felt emotionally impacted by, like, because it's a very, like, the universal kind of theme of this film was, like, you are not alone, because the question that scientists and astronauts and you know, people,
everyone for centuries
has asked, are we alone? And taking that big question and making it a very, not a small question, but making it a very personal question, so smart. It was just so smart. There was also just the attitude towards space travel and towards discovery and progress was very Disney. Like, very Disney ideology, not Disney business practices. But, like, when you think about, like, what Walt, like, stood for, like, what Walt Disney stood for, it was that progress, keep moving forward. It was hope. It was hopeful. Like, it's because a lot of sci-fi, obviously, nowadays, it's very easy to go very grimdark with sci-fi.
Very cynical,
like, dystopian futures, things like that. This felt colorful and hopeful and bright and really unique looking. And, like, had great ideas. Like, it was just, you know, and again, like, none of it was necessarily, like, unique to the sci-fi genre, but, like, it was just so well done.
It feels like what you think the future would be when you were a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Especially, which is good coming from Elio, because Elio's a middle schooler.
I was trying to gauge his age because I felt like in the trailer he read young.
Yeah.
And then in more recent promo I have seen for it, I was like, oh, he kind of seems older.
In the montage in the beginning when he's like showing that he likes aliens, they show him coming home from a middle school. They show the middle school name. So I think he's like probably around like 11, 12 maybe.
Yeah.
Which seems about right.
Yeah, that feels right.
It's also especially like the time where you feel the most alienated from
true.
everything. But yeah. Should we just jump into like kind of plot summary, explaining kind of what's going on, or?
Yeah, if you want to kick it off. I'm letting you totally lead the charge on this.
Okay, yeah.
You're remembering things, but...
Yeah, I've been very excited for this movie for a very long time. It was announced, I think, like in 2023-ish.
It's been in the can for quite some time.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out last year, and then it was bumped in favor of Inside Out 2. Which is also, like, a decent film. It's, like, an okay film to me. But basically, in the trailers for Elio, you see that he is being raised by a single woman, and you just kind of, like, assume that that's his mom. The opening scene of the movie is basically they are at a fast food restaurant, and she's just like, okay, do you want this burger? Do you want these nuggets? I don't know what you want. What did your mom used to order for you? And we both gasped.
We were like, oh, no.
Yeah. So his parents are dead. He's being raised by his aunt, which also contributes to the alienation and also contributes to his aunt. His aunt's name is Olga. Her story of basically she had to give up becoming an astronaut in order to take care of Elio. So there's not really you don't really get a sense of resentment there, but there is this kind of running thread of giving up your dreams in order to...
I think it's more of like a grief.
Yeah.
It's she's grieving the life she would have had, but also she's grieving, like, that was a sibling of hers.
Yeah. That was her brother.
Yeah. So I think there was a mix of that. I felt like maybe, actually, if I had any notes, maybe we could have gone a little bit into that. Or just had a moment where she maybe, like, maybe engaged with the shrine or something. But, like, yeah, I think it wasn't resentment. It's definitely just grief.
It's grief, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's when Elio ends up finding this, basically... this exhibit that's not open yet. He kind of dips into a restricted area and he finds this exhibit that's not open yet. That's basically a planetarium, and it's talking specifically about the Voyager probe. And the Voyager probe has something on it called the Golden Record, which is a recording of, I think it's about 80 different languages, each giving basically a message of greeting to the universe.
Witajcie, istoty z zaświatów.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.
For English, it's hello from the children of Earth. I think in other languages, it's like, hello, have you eaten yet? Hello, we are the children of the planet Earth, of the third star from the solar system. There's a lot of variations on it, but it's in all these different languages, and it's basically just saying, like, hey, we're out here.
Yeah.
And he was...
There's also, I think, if I remember this correctly, and we did very little research on this, I remember reading about the Voyager, there's also, like, certain pieces of culture and things that are also... in the probe as well.
They show our DNA.
They show our DNA. They show certain scientific discoveries and things like that. Stuff that we felt represented us well. And then sent it off into space.
And now she's off doing her own thing. But yeah, because of that, he becomes fascinated with aliens. And because he already feels alone, he just wants someone to, come
take him away.
Yeah. So then we cut to him growing up. And he ends up going to he goes to the beach basically like every day, and basically writes in the sand, has like his Christmas lights and stuff like that, and it just says, "Aliens take me." And then he basically he puts up these advertisements. He's like, "I'm starting a ham radio club," and again, we haven't done too much research, but like radio, he needs a radio in order to contact space, basically.
Yeah. He wants to extend his reach.
Extend his reach, yeah. And he ends up coming in contact with this kid named Bryce, who's basically like, hey, this is my dad's ham radio. And Elio's like, cool, I'll take the radio. You can go now. Bryce is just like, what do you mean? He ends up Bryce also invited his friend, and they get into kind of a spat about, you know, wanting to get kicked out and not wanting to get kicked out and all that. They get into a fight. Elio gets injured, also bites the kid. He's a biter. He's a biter. He's a biter. His aunt picks him up and she's like, what the hell? Elio gets injured, so he has an eye patch now. His aunt's like, okay, I'm really, really mad at you, but basically just sit here. I have to go do one more meeting. Just sit here for 10 minutes, just quietly. The meeting that she has to attend is basically, there is this conspiracy theorist type guy in her, basically, program that's basically just like, hey, we got a message. And the message is basically a transcript. Like basically, they took the recording of Voyager and cut it. So ours is hello from the children of Earth. Theirs is like hello Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, this is a message from aliens. I've already redirected all the satellites to send out a message. It might cause a small power outage, but it's fine. The Aunt Olga's like, no, it's like, this isn't what we do. We track space debris. That's it. They leave. Elio's been hearing this the whole time. He goes and he transmits a message that says, hey, I'm Elio from Earth. Come pick me up. Okay, love you, bye.
He says, I'm really smart, I'm creative, I'm ripped.
I'm shredded as hell.
I'm shredded, come get me. Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye. Causes a power outage, obviously, because it takes a lot of power to send a message like that. His aunt almost loses her job because of that. And they get into a fight about it. And the aunt's basically just like, listen, I think you need to make some friends. Think you need to get some hobbies. We're going to send you to this, basically it's kind of like a Boy Scout / Army military camp.
At first I thought it was military school, but then it didn't seem quite as extreme as all that.
Yeah, it was a camp, but she does say, like, he overhears her saying, like, yeah, I'm going to ask to enroll him in the fall as well. And he's like, you're getting rid of me, and she's just like, no, it's a structure thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sends him to camp. He finds out that the kids he got into a fight with also go to the same camp.
And those kids are out for revenge.
Yeah. And so basically in the night, they kind of track him down, and they're about to beat the crap out of him.
And that's when the aliens come.
Yeah.
So yeah, the aliens come. He gets to go to a place in space called the Communicore. Basically, it's a bunch of different aliens from different planets. They're all kind of like the best and the brightest. And they serve as ambassadors for their planets.
Yes.
And they're like, you could also be a part of this, but we have one more candidate to speak to first, so enjoy yourself.
It's also gorgeous.
It's also gorgeous. It's a great little sequence.
They have like this computer that's basically, it's like a little squishy guy
named Ooh.
Yeah. And he also gets this universal translator kind of like implanted on his chest.
Mm-hmm.
Not in like a weird way, it's just kind of floating there. It also controls gravity and temperature, which is very important. But, like, there's aliens that are, like, mind readers. There's aliens that just make really good food. There's aliens that use nanotechnology. It's just, like, it's the best and brightest in the entire universe.
Yeah.
And the entire sequence is gorgeous.
It is, yes.
So they have another candidate they need to talk to. And he's, like, this crab-looking guy with this little, like, light-up visor helmet. And he's just like, hey, you guys are smart. I have weapons. Let's make this work. And they say no.
And they say no. They're like, listen, we're about peace and progress and, like, you know, conflict resolution, and your whole thing is guns and war and all that. So he's obviously, so they're like, yeah, it's not a good fit. So he's mad, obviously, and says, okay, well, if I can't join the Communicore, I'm going to take it by force. They all freak out and then say to Elio, basically they all kind of retreat. They don't do confrontation well.
Yeah.
So they tell Elio, hey, since because of all of this, we can't really accept new members right now, so we're just gonna put you back on Earth, like right back where you were, and nothing will have changed. Don't worry about it. Like, we're just gonna slot you right back in where we took you from, and yeah, it'll be fine.
And he was about to get punched in the face.
He was about to get punched in the face when they took him, because they literally froze time to take him away.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I cannot go back to Earth. So he's like, I will talk to the big scary guy. And they're like, oh, do you have conflict resolution skills? He's like, my whole life is conflict, let's go. So they hook him up with a spaceship to take him up there.
They also hook him up with a clone.
They also hook him up with a clone, yes. Before he goes and negotiates, they say, oh, by the way, since you're a world leader, because they think he's the leader of Earth, we should make you a clone just so, like, people don't freak out back where you're from. Because, like, the whole place would descend into chaos. Yeah. So they send a clone who, like, what's interesting is, like, from what I understand, like, when they cloned him, this clone also got all of his, like, inner thoughts and everything. So the fact that he asked him, so when I go to be you, should I just keep up with the low self-esteem and no friends thing? And Elio's like, what? No, just go be normal. So then he goes and be's normal.
He also just, like, goes right back into getting punched in the face, and he's just like, it's a living!
It's a living. He knows his job. We really respect clone Elio. So he goes back, and that's who's gonna be with Elio's aunt for the remainder of the movie, who, at first we were like, does she not notice? And then eventually we do find out she does notice that is very much not her nephew.
Yeah.
So Elio tries to negotiate with, Grygar? Is that
Grygon.
Grygon. Okay, Grygon, who's the big, scary, armored alien, and it seems to be going well until one of Grygon's, little, like, worker people, I don't know, does he have a footman? Is he royalty? I guess he is.
Yeah.
Comes in and says, your son wants to see you, and he's like, oh, I don't know what to do with that kid. And Elio, having dealt with, like, tough parental situation, said, well, if you just can't handle him, just send him away, because that's what he experienced. And Grygon takes huge offense to that and thinks that he is insinuating that he cannot handle his kid and he's a bad parent, and throws him in prison.
It's basically like, I'm gonna blow up the Communicore.
And I'm gonna blow up the Communicore. Yep.
Yeah.
Elio escapes and meets our Glorden, our lovely other protagonist.
Our squishy little bean.
Squishy little boy. And
with so many teeth.
Who is Grygon's son. That is the son that was being referred to. The two of them strike up a very quick friendship, and he decides that the only way he's going to save the Communicore is if he uses Glorden as a bargaining chip.
Glorden's totally on board with this.
Glorden's totally into this. Do not worry about Glorden.
He's having a grand old time.
So basically he says, like, hey, Grygon, got your son. And also, like, the kid Glorgon really wants his dad's... Oh, no, Glorden. Yeah, Glorden really wants Grygon's... These names are so hard. Really wants his dad's attention. So he's like, yeah, let me be a political pawn. Let's go. So he's like, fine, I'm going to come get my son, and then I will leave. And do not hurt him. So they have a really great night together because Grygon takes his sweet time getting down there. So they have, like, a little kids movie version of a bender, and...
They throw up in bushes.
It's great. They bond.
Yep.
Grygon decides that Glorden... So the armor that he is in is called a
carapace.
A carapace. It is basically... It is armor. All of the aliens that are Glorden's, like, species are actually these squishy little cute things.
Yeah.
And then you put armor on, and then you never take it off.
Because to take it off is to disgrace your family for, like, 1,000 years, frontwards and backwards, forever.
Exactly. And Glorden explains this. I keep saying Glorden, but it's Glorden, like Gordon. Glorden explains this to Elio earlier on. He's like, yeah, when I come of age, I get to go into this suit and never come out. And you do find out later that is not what Glorden wants, because he's like, well, I'll never be able to play or have fun ever again, because once I get in the suit, I just have to, like...
Be a warlord,
basically. So, Elio gets the idea, oh, hey, they've got cloning here, let's just clone you. And he's like, are you sure my dad won't find out? Because he's really smart. And he's like, well, look at mine. And he shows him a portal to Earth, where he sees weird changeling Elio with his aunt being, like, super normal.
Making mac and cheese.
And it seems like his aunt really likes clone Elio better.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we're gonna make a clone. So they do. The clone goes into the carapace, which just looks like an Iron Maiden on the inside. It's so sad and scary. Yeah. I hated it so much, because he's so cute, and I don't want him to go in there. Even though I know it's not him.
Yeah.
Thing closes, fake Glorden is in there, and the dad's like, all right, ready to be a warlord? And he's about to make this whole speech, and fake Glorden is like, yeah, sure, let's go. And the dad's like, okay. Then shoots him, because he's like, that's not my son.
Yeah.
My son would not willingly get in there.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm about to rip this place apart.
To find my son.
to find my son. And one of the aliens is a mind reader. She says, read his mind, find out Elio's mind, find out where my son is. The mind reader does, and also discovers that Elio is not the leader of Earth, nor is Elio an adult, because they just assumed he was an adult. Because, I mean, what do they know what a kid looks like?
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm sorry, you can't join us, because, like, you lied. So they send him back to Earth. Glorden has been hiding in the little ship Elio had used to get to Grygons in the first place, and ends up going to Earth by accident as well. We're gonna have to speed run the end of this a little bit.
Elio reunites with his aunt.
They have a heart-to-heart. We cried.
That was the first time we cried.
That was... I cried earlier times, but that was one of the first times we cried. You find out that Glorden's ship has crash landed at the base where Elio's aunt works.
They sneak in.
Glorden's not doing well. Glorden is from a very warm planet. We talked about how the little translator thing also controls the personal temperature of whoever's wearing it. That was very important, and unfortunately that was damaged in the crash of the spaceship. So they figure out how to get the spaceship running. They get it up into space. They try to get back to the Communicore, and the computer tells them there is no room. The path is not clear. And Elio says, what do you mean? The path is totally clear. And then you find out that there is space debris coming at them at a very, very high speed, faster than bullets. And that's what his aunt does. His aunt helps steer our space shuttles and things around space debris.
We see her do it at one point.
And see how they correct routes and things like that. This all seemed very much based in real science. So she's like, I can't steer from up here because I can't see where we are or like
where anything is.
So they're like, maybe somebody out there has a ham radio. So they call Bryce.
Who is the kid from the beginning of the movie with the ham radio, who called his drug friends and helped beat Elio up, basically.
Yes. This kid was like one of the cool... They did that thing where like in the clique of mean kids, there's like one kid who's like, maybe we shouldn't do that. So he was kind of cool. They call him, they're like, we need help, listen, like, alien spaceship. Actually, by this point, I remember, they know, the whole world knows that this is happening. Because there's a foreign object in the sky. And they're like, we need your help, are you good at physics? He's like, not really, but I know a guy in the ham radio community who turns out to be the crazy dude from earlier, who tried to send a message.
The ham master
who tried to send a message into space. He steers them as far as he can until they run out of range. They leave the range for where they can get his signal.
And then they keep getting hit with debris because they can't see it. So it's shields at 80, shields at 60, shields at 40, shields at 20. Something else hits them, black.
And we're like, oh god, like, first of all, I mean, in my head, I'm like, they wouldn't kill.
Yeah, I'm like, they wouldn't kill them off. It wouldn't be just, like, black roll credits.
Yeah. And then you hear voices from India, China, Canada.
It's Italy.
Japan. All of these other ham radio users. Basically, when one loses range, the next person picks it up. And it's in the same style and order as the Voyager recording.
It is gorgeous.
Cried a second time.
Yeah. And the voices overlap towards the end. They're just like, it's here, you're not alone. It's here, you can make it. It's here, you're not alone. We're not alone. You are not alone. Space clear. And I'm like, oh my god. Again, we cried. Sobbing. They get back to the Communicore. Glorden is not doing well. No, he is not moving.
He is too cold. He can't survive. They bring him to Grygon, who has been ripping the place apart, looking for him. He sees Glorden's state. He also sees that Elio very clearly cares for him. Because Elio, like, it was very Pocahontas, actually, how this happened, where he, like, runs over and, like, throws his body over him. I keep wanting to say the dad, because he's Glorden's dad, rips his carapace off himself, which,
again, dishonor on your entire family.
It's a cultural no-no.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big deal. And earlier on in the film, you learn that, like, these aliens sort of have, like, a spider web thing that they can do, like a webbing.
Yeah.
And swaddling is a very common thing in their culture.
For, like, children.
For, like, children who are stressed out or sad or anxious. And the dad swaddles Glorden, cried a fourth time, and a fifth time.
Swaddles him, rocks him back and forth, rubbing him,
warming him up.
Yeah.
Glorden is fine, by the way.
He is totally chill. He's totally fine.
They, everything's cool. They try to welcome Elio into the Communicorps because obviously that was an incredibly courageous act.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he's gonna go with them, and finally he's found a place he's accepted. But then he notices his aunt is gonna have to go back to Earth alone. And eventually he decides, you know what? I'm gonna hold off for a little bit. I used to think Earth had nothing to offer me. I think I want to give it a try. So he goes back to Earth. They take him back to Earth by, like, just basically transporting the Communicorps there. So everybody on Earth sees it, because it's ginormous.
This thing is the size of a planet.
Yes. And everybody sees it. And you get, I believe it's a Carl Sagan talk that they play over this moment where Carl Sagan is discussing, you know, just humans' innate wonder about space and whether or not we are alone in the universe.
Basically saying just like, we've wondered for years and years and years, are we alone, and at this time and place we can send spaceships out, we can send radio signals, and we can finally like ask the very, very human question, are we alone? And then at that quote you see his aunt squeeze his hand.
Yeah. Cried a sixth
sobbing,
time.
yeah.
Sobbing. It was such a good movie. It had so many great little theses and little themes. It didn't drop one. I felt like there were plot threads that did not get dropped. Like, because I found with movies recently, there have been things they've tried to introduce, and I will feel like, I felt like we didn't wrap that one up, or I just feel like things get forgotten. This I did not feel. I felt very completionist at the end of this one. How did you feel when you were like...
Oh my god, it was just... As someone who, like, I am a huge sucker for, like, the you are not alone theme, and that kind of plot thread, especially, like, power of friendship plot threads, all that, sucker for it. Very big soft spot for it. This movie, I'm just, like, the highest honor I can bestow it to me is I got really obsessed with Big Hero 6 when I was 14. If I had seen Elio at 14, it would have been Elio. That's the highest honor I can give this movie. Oh my god, it's just... The biggest themes and motifs is basically alienation.
Mm-hmm.
And they show that with actual aliens.
Yeah, they do. And also there was, obviously with Glorden's family and his whole culture and his species, there's very much a, like, toxic masculine, don't show your emotions, don't be soft thing. Which also is alienating. Like, that is an alienating thing. It's not just being different or being othered, it's... othering yourself in a way. And I think like even the other stuff that like would have interesting plot like they still managed to weave it all in so nicely. It was just so expertly done,
especially with Glorden. They also imply, because when you first meet Glorden, he is alone. He is alone basically in what his room. He also mentions later on, he's just like, yeah, you know, because you lost your parents, my mom's away a lot and I miss her so much. So there's still alienation there because he doesn't get along with his dad.
Yeah.
And so you get the implication that he gets along a lot better with his mom, who is away so much, that he is also very, very alone. And he is happy as a clam to meet Elio.
So
yeah.
Well, because, when Elio asks his name, he's like, oh my god, no one's ever asked me my name before.
Or, like, any questions. He's like, I ask questions all the time. No one ever asks me anything.
Yeah. It's, I love it.
Like, what's my favorite, like, no one asks, what's my favorite color? It's purple, by the way.
Oh.
This kid is just desperate for friends.
It was so good. I had a really, really good time. Previous to this episode and going to see the film, we did kind of set up like a little pre-watch impressions. So Elio came out the same weekend as How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah. And it is the lowest PIXAR opening ever, which is...
It got, I believe, $30 million in the first week at a budget of $150 million.
Yes. However, critically, it's 65 on Metacritic at time of like research and 84% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, that's not critics, that's people.
Yeah. So
it's considered a good movie.
It's a decent movie, yeah. It's just that, like, because even in our theater, I mean, we also went on a Monday. We're recording this on a Monday, like a Monday basically an afternoon show.
Yeah.
There was it was like us and two families.
Yeah, there was like a family of 4 behind us, and then there was a dad and his son on the end of our row, and I did not see anybody else. Oh, there was one like older woman maybe in the theater, unless she was part of that group behind us. But yeah, it wasn't a lot of people. I would assume everybody's in How to Train Your Dragon, or
it's also pretty dead. Like, it wasn't like busy at the theater either.
That's true. I will give them that. And again, like I tend to choose specifically like matinees to go to now when I want to go see a movie. I saw Materialists, like, in the middle of the day last week, specifically, so I wouldn't have to deal with huge crowds. But, we're like, okay, everyone's going to see How to Train Your Dragon, which is a carbon copy of the original.
Everyone's going to see Lilo and Stitch, which is not good.
And also, that was another thing I wanted to bring up, because one of the very first notes I wrote down when they were showing kind of Elio and we were giving a sense of his personality was Elio felt like an answer to Lilo. Like, they were weird in the same ways, but they were so lonely in the same way.
Yeah.
Like, he's obviously a little older, but...
Yeah, this is a very... It does give a lot of Lilo and Stitch vibes, and that is not a bad thing. I do want to reiterate, that is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of similar themes. It's a lot of, not necessarily similar plot beats, where Lilo takes place on Earth and is about basically learning to love Earth. Elio is more learning about to love yourself on Earth. By not being on it.
Yeah.
Actually, Lilo and Stitch, the animated version, and Elio would make a great double feature.
It would. It's just, there's just such great through lines there.
Especially when you come to, like, Olga and Nani.
Yes.
Because Nani in the animated film, you get the sense that basically she gave up a lot to take care of Lilo. Because she's like 19, maybe 20 at oldest.
And in the animated, you don't get too many details on what that is.
Yeah.
In the live action, they try to make it a bit more clear.
Yeah. But she has all these surfing trophies, and she's a really good surfer, but she doesn't really do it anymore. She has all this job stuff that she's doing, and Lilo's not really helping that much because Lilo's like 5. And then the same thing happens with Olga, where it's just like she gave up being an astronaut, and you keep getting these through lines of like people just being like, hey, the astronaut selection program, like their manager's coming to visit, like, do you want to go see them? Do you want to go talk to them? I can put in a word for you. And she's like, no, it's not a good time, it's not a good time, it's not a good time. And Elio even, like, he picks up on it as well. And again, I don't really think there's resentment between the two of them. I think Elio thinks there's resentment.
But there's not.
There's not. Because there's also something, when he's telling Gordon about this, when they're having their little bender, she's like, yeah, you know, she probably hates me because she gave up being an astronaut for me. And Gordon just very casually just says, like, wow, she must really love you.
Yeah. Again, it's like when you're so in it, you sometimes don't see it, like, for what it is. Yeah, oh god, it was so good. I just it's so, like, it's so hard for me to even like kind of analyze it, just because
it touches something that's very, very personal to us, I think.
It's something also, I think, a little nebulous.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I think when we were talking about, like, what did we want to do for this episode, we didn't really want to necessarily do a full review, because again, we didn't know what our opinion was going to be going in.
Yeah.
So we were like, this very well could be middling at best.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
But we kind of wanted to talk about, because our main question when we left was like,
why aren't people seeing
this? Like, I do think this may be one that will pick up a bit more on streaming.
I hope it does. I desperately hope it does. And I told you this when we were walking out of the theater. I'm like, the very cynical part of me says that this feels like, with all its hope and all its artistry and all its writing, it feels like a send-off. And a send-off to a very, very specific era of Pixar. Especially as we find out that a lot of the newer projects are either sequels or going to be kind of iterations on things that already exist. I'm mostly thinking about Gato, which, again, it could be coincidence, but it has a very, very similar vibe to Flow, which came out last year. And, you know, won the Academy Award. So, and Disney hasn't won an Academy Award for animation in quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, this one I would be happy with them putting up for an Academy Award.
I don't think they would, though. I don't think
They do every year, though.
They try. I wouldn't be surprised if this does not get a slot. I wouldn't be surprised if basically they put Zootopia in instead. Because Zootopia 2 is coming out, and that they are advertising pretty heavily. Elio has not received a lot of advertising.
They're not advertising that heavily. I've seen that teaser, and that's it.
I know, but I've seen that teaser everywhere.
Oh, I haven't.
Yeah.
So.
Elio, we thought we were seeing a lot of advertising for it, because we were in Florida recently, so we were seeing, again, we were in the Disney ecosystem, so we were seeing, like, the McDonald's toys and stuff like that. But when I was talking to my friends, and when we were talking about our mother, she's like, yeah, I haven't really seen any ads for it, so I don't really know what's going on. She's like, I saw the trailer maybe once. And I'm like, even like on YouTube, and the ad situation on YouTube is insane. And I have a very, very particular, algorithm where they think I'm a 12-year-old boy. And I have not been seeing ads for Elio at all. I've not seen really anyone talking about Elio at all. And even like going into the Tumblr tag, it's a lot of people begging for other people to watch it, and not a lot of just like community discussion about it.
And again, like, Tumblr is not the hopping place.
But it is a very artistic place.
It is, yeah. Like, these are people who appreciate a well-made story and a well-made product like that. Like, yeah, it's that's kind of what we were talking about. I mean, I hope Disney it finds life on Disney Plus, because, and I mean, that kind of sucks, like, because it was great in a theater.
It was fantastic, yeah.
But I do think, like, and this was something I said in our kind of preliminary meeting for this, it was, theater prices are so insane, so people don't really want to take a risk. It's kind of the same thing we run into with the theater, the theater I work for.
Live action theater.
It's literally all theater is live action.
And you know what I mean, because
live theater.
Live theater. Live theater. Live theater.
I need you to get your head out of the live action theater, please. Because people are just like, well, if I don't know I'm gonna like it, why am I gonna go? And I'm like, that's kind of like part of it, is like when you come in not knowing much about it. Because I just went and saw a play on Sunday, because it was the last of our season, and it was the only day I could see it. But I knew bits and pieces of it just because I've been living in the same building as it for a while. But I truly did not know what to expect. And I had a great time. And I've also had ones where I'm like, wouldn't go see it again. Now, granted, I have the beauty of going for free. But there are certain things, like, you just gotta take a shot sometimes, okay? Like, I went to go see Materialists, and, like, movie tickets aren't cheap, snacks aren't cheap. It could have not been good. I've seen movies where I'm like, that was alright. Yeah. But, like, it's not the end of the world if you don't like it. And I think people are just very precious about their time and their money right now, which I totally get.
You know what just popped in my head right now? I wonder if it has something to do with algorithms. Because, especially, like, on TikTok, algorithms get very, very fine-tuned to your taste. And so anyone who finds, like, even a second of something they're not interested in, they're scrolling past it. And I think maybe that's kind of rewired some people's brains, in the sense where it's like, if something doesn't immediately grab them, they're not even going to take a chance on it.
Yeah. And that's, and again, you can't force anybody to do anything. Yeah. But I do think if people, let's say someone already has Disney Plus, and they're, like, scrolling through, and they're like, oh, Elio, that was out a few months ago, let's watch it now. It's lower stakes. Yeah. Because you're not, like, wasting $10 to $12, or if it's an IMAX, like, more, or 3D, it's more. Because you don't like it, you just turn it off, and it's no harm, no foul. I think people are more comfortable watching stuff on streaming because there's lower stakes.
Which makes me a little worried for the future of Pixar and the future of animation at Disney in general. Because Disney has definitely moved away from... Disney got started as an animation studio, and they have definitely moved further and further and further and further and further away from animation. In a way that feels disrespectful. Yes. To their roots. Which I won't get too much into. We can talk about that another time. Yeah. And the turning point for me, and from what I've seen from other people saying that, is when they launched Disney Plus. Now they want everyone to buy Disney Plus. That is their model now. Everyone should be on Disney Plus. And I think they've cornered the market on Disney Plus.
I think they really have cornered the market on Disney Plus. I think everybody who wants it has it.
And so basically they're less willing to put these animated films in theaters because...
I'm so sorry we did have to stop because somebody was getting mosquito spray next door, and apparently that's just the same as a leaf blower now.
Yeah, no, it was like right next to our ear.
It was not good. Yeah. You might be able to hear it on the recording, I'm not sure. I'm gonna do my best to take it out. And then someone's getting a pool put in down the street. Yeah. So I heard them, like, churning up trees.
We should get a pool.
In our slanty backyard? We have this conversation, I feel like, daily.
All we have to do is just adjust the water.
No. Anyways, we were in the middle of discussing Disney Plus, kind of like the whole business model. Because we said, like...
They've cornered the market on Disney
Anybody
Plus.
who wants it has it. Because, like, we are some of the few people who still have cable.
Yeah.
Just because it gets us a better deal on internet.
Yeah, you also watch a lot of, like, TV.
I actually watch TV.
Yeah.
People complain about cable, but I'm just like, listen, I'm more willing to watch ads if it's on cable.
Yeah, because they can pick good times to stop, whereas on YouTube they will stop in the middle of a sentence.
Exactly. Or even, like, some of the more, like, less expensive streaming services will kind of put them in weird places.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched whole movies where ads pop up. It's weird.
But that's beside the point.
That's besides the point. But what I'm saying is, like, watching Disney, or Freeform, the channel Freeform that used to be ABC Family, did, just like they do, like, 31 Days of Halloween or whatever, they did 30 Days of Disney for June. So they were showing Disney movies every day and every night. And the constant little thing in the lower left-hand corner is, do you love this movie? You can watch it again on Disney Plus with no ads. And I'm just like, but it's more fun when I stumble upon it.
Yeah.
Not when I have to weed through a bunch of stuff to watch. It's different when Dad and I are trying to, like, watch all the X-Men movies, and there are all the X-Men movies. Like, that, you know.
Yeah, I mean it is more fun because, like, there was that one time where I was actually chilling on Disney Plus, and they do have some, like, live stream stuff. And one of the live streams was, like, retro throwbacks. And what they were playing at the time was High School Musical 2, which I hadn't seen since I was, like, a teenager. So I just put that on. Which, again, that's still Disney Plus, not live TV. But it makes it more special.
Yeah, I don't know. The stumbling upon it feels better. But anyways, this isn't really about Disney Plus. But I do think stuff just gains more traction there just because it feels like lower stakes.
Yeah, and so they're more willing to put these original animated films on there because it would just be like, oh, like, you know, we can just throw this on for the kids, maybe. And then it gets streaming numbers.
I think it also doesn't ask as much of you.
Yeah, you can be on your phone throughout the entire thing. You shouldn't, but...
Yeah, it's watching stuff on streaming, again, it lowers the stakes. And granted, I mention all the time, I'm like, going to the movies these days feels like a minefield because I don't know who's going to be there or how people are going to act, or in this case, I went to Materialists and that theater was so humid, I will not shut up about it. The air conditioner was broken and it smelled so bad in there. I came out with a migraine. But, like, you just don't know what you're going to get, whereas, like, there's this known entity of, I can just watch this in my house.
You also have the giant projector.
I do have a giant projector, which actually, I listen, if you are, like, somebody who's like, I don't want to go to the movie theater, I don't want to blah, 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 get a projector, because I'm such a TV girl, like, I didn't watch a lot of movies. The projector has helped with the watching movies experience for me, because I shine it above the blank wall above my bed, I lie in bed, and I watch, like, a good movie, and I can watch old movies, like, the way they were meant to be watched. So I do highly recommend. There's a lot of cheap options out there.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like what Disney itself is moving towards, because they want to, again, Disney Plus is basically their model now. So they're moving, like, more further and further away from animation, and they'll be like, we're just going to pump out these live action remakes in theaters, and then all our animated stuff we're going to hide on the streaming service. And it feels like they're purposely hiding Elio. And I get that sense because there hasn't been a lot of advertising for it, and there's no merch for it. Which is very, very funny because a lot of when I just tried to recommend it to my friend while we were waiting for this mosquito guy to stop. So I texted my friend and I'm just like, hey, you should watch Elio. And she's like, I heard it was cute, but that it was mid. And I'm like, it's not cute. They're not trying to make marketable plushies out of this thing. You want to know why I know that? Because there are no marketable plushies of this thing.
No, we looked, like, that was one of the first things I did was like, oh my god, like, the plushie potential for some of these characters.
Yeah.
Nothing. Not a thing.
I wonder if they also got a little scared off of the marketable plushie aspect of things because of Wish, because they tried to market the hell out of Wish, and that did not go over well. Which I'm just like, yeah, you can market things, but they also have to be good things.
It makes me wonder about, like, their numbers people and their data people. Like, I'm like, you're clearly collecting data, but I feel like you're not coming to the correct conclusions.
Yeah. And again, it's just like, because they're like, we want people, look at the numbers, people want familiarity. I'm just like, yeah, but you don't market the original stuff, or when you do, you don't market it well. Because, like, Elemental had the same issue, but Elemental ended up surviving on word of mouth. But Elemental was just basically like Zootopia but love story and fire and water, when that's not what it's about. It's a story about being an immigrant.
Yeah, and, like, pleasing your parents.
Yeah.
It was another one of those ones that was, like, deeply personal, and you could tell it was personal to the person making it. See, it's interesting, because people, like, talk about, like, and like this is why people like get pissed off. They're like, we don't want diverse stories, we don't want like why should I care about your thing, all this stuff. And it's something about there's something they talk about. I'm gonna bring up Taylor Swift's trigger warning like, for those of you
Swiftie jump scare.
No, but they were talking about like Taylor Swift's lyric writing. I forget where I heard this the first time, but like back when I was doing music and on a label and going through like writing sessions and things, I was constantly being told to make my stuff less specific. And the big thing about Taylor Swift is her stuff feels relatable because there's detail. Like I'm not listening to something that feels like it's like so blank I can map whatever onto it. It feels specificity helps with the relatability. And I feel like people don't get that. And that's true for other art.
Yeah, especially I think with Elio, because again, I also talk about the fact that like his story is not like necessarily a cultural story, but he still has a culture to come from. He's not just like a generic brown boy. He's a Mexican kid. And so like I remember like being a kid, and there was sometimes where like a Latina character would pop up, and we'd just be like, oh yeah, they're Latina. Like just out of like little details and stuff like that. Like people talk about how Encanto doesn't feel distinctly Colombian, but we're just like the fact that it just is Colombian is important to me, at least as a person, because we have Colombian background. So these really deep personal stories and these cultural details I think are really important, but basically everyone just wants to dumb everything down, or they just want to just make things as marketable as possible, like with Lilo and Stitch, where they moved where it takes place just so they can market the hotel. Listen, Alani's a nice hotel. We have been twice.
We've been twice. It's a good hotel. I don't think it's nice enough to ruin story integrity. It's so hard to like market original work nowadays. It is just very hard to not necessarily to market it, but to get people to market it and get people to care about it. And it's unfortunate. I desperately hope that Elio finds an audience on streaming. But I also worry that it's just going to reinforce the idea that they can just push the originals onto streaming and then not market them and just hope people stumble upon them. Whereas they keep pushing these live action remakes, because they're pitching Lilo and Stitch 2 right now. Which wasn't even a theatrical release to begin with. Like, yeah, no, like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And this is the thing that kind of bothered, like, in the Kill Your Normie podcast, because when we say the thing at the beginning, like, it is that deep, I need people to care about the things that they consume, and not care, like, what can this do for me in a transactional way. I need people to care, like, I need people to get curious. And I think, and that's kind of the thing we talk about all the time, where, like, we need you to get curious about the things you are consuming. Why are you consuming a carbon copy of something you can get easily? I don't know. I don't know. Why are you doing that? And granted, like, we could be preaching to the choir. We joke about, you know, the 12 pop stars that listen to us. But, like, fans care what they consume. Yeah. They do. They care about quality. And sometimes, yes, it's annoying. Like, I can discuss things to a certain point. I just watched a recent video essay on Doctor Who by someone who's like a big Doctor Who fan, because the finale was bad. But then I've heard her, but then, you know, she talks about other things that she disliked about certain seasons or whatever, and I do find sometimes constant nitpicking is really, really exhausting. Yeah. Like, especially when you do like a thing. I do think there's a place for, I didn't care for this, and then there's a place for, but God, I just love this thing. Yeah. You know, I think there's a balance you can strike. It bothers me when we're just over here, like, go see Elio, for the love of God, just go see it. And they're just like, why? Like, they're like, why should I care? It's, and again, like, going to the theater nowadays, kind of expensive. It's not really the best experience all the time. But even when it comes on streaming, like, watch that instead of watching the same thing for the 50,000th time. Like, yeah. Because, again, in fandom, yes, we tend to be people who return to comfort things and comfort shows and comfort movies and things like that. But these days, especially, I am dying for something original. Like, dying for something that really lights my brain up. You know what's really funny? We just watched Ratatouille recently, and they literally have a monologue about this.
one of the best parts about critics is that they get to defend the new. And here we are. I mean, we're not really professional critics, but like, we're out here defending Elio. Like, I was trying to beg my friend to go see Elio, and I'm like, I told Lindsey, I'm just like, I feel like I'm on my hands and knees sobbing at her feet, and telling her to go see this and care about this.
And it's because she's like, I heard it was mid. For like, from who?
From who? Give me names.
From who? What authority told you? Because it was bad.
I was also looking at, there was a thread on Reddit that was just, like, on R movies. And it was just, like, post your Elio reviews here. And people were just like, no, this was really, really good. This was, like, very, very heartfelt. Very, very well done. Lots of good world building. Like, 8 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Pixar's back on top. One of my favorites of the 2020s that they've done. And yet, that theater was empty.
Yeah, and again, middle of a Monday. Like, lunchtime.
Monday.
And granted, it's summer vacation, so, like, kids are out of school.
Yeah.
But, I mean, parents work and things like that. I mean, when I was there for Materialists, I saw, like, 3 school buses. I have no clue what movie they were there to see. I did not see a group.
They could have been there to see Elio.
They could have been there to see Elio. They could have been there to see, How to Train Your Dragon. I don't know. But, like, it's... I do feel like I'm on my hands and knees, like, all the time. And that's why we created this, like, and that's why I created Fangirl to My Core, because I wanted to create kind of a space where I got to be enthusiastic about things. I do think a lot of art criticism nowadays is a lot of this thing bad. And granted, it is criticism, but, like, even analysis is always, like, this thing bad.
Yeah. And this thing bad also makes a lot of money. Again, rage is the most driving emotion behind a lot of engagement.
Yeah, and I recently, God rest my soul, turned my YouTube history back on.
Oh my God.
Because I was getting frustrated with, like, only seeing the same things all the time. But now my feed is completely filled with video essays, and I put that in quotes because I do think there is a fine line between commentary and video essay. Where it's literally just, this thing bad. I was annoyed by this thing. This thing is annoying. Oh, this thing is actually bad. Or you think it's good, but it's really bad. It's a lot of people, like, with hot takes that aren't really that hot because I'm like, oh, you're just going to criticize this thing? Either that or it's them talking about some drama on TikTok that I've never heard about.
Yeah. Sometimes that's fun, though.
Sometimes that's fun. Like, sometimes it's stupid, but there are some days where I do watch it and I'm like, wow, we are really failing as a society.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, what happened to enthusiasm? That's why sometimes, like, watching, like, reaction channels is fun, because you're just watching people genuinely, like, have fun watching something.
There's like, these 2 black music reviewers who were reviewing Chapel Roan, like, 6 months ago or something like that. And just watching them was just a delight.
Yeah,
that's also one of our dad's favorite things to watch, is just to watch people react to music that he likes.
Yes. But that's nice because it's like a shared joy in the thing that you love. And, like, basically I've been just watching, like, booktube people that I like. And I mean, a lot of new music has come out, so mostly like that kind of stuff, or like watching music interviews and things. But it's, yeah, I've been a little starved for something that really lights my brain up. Or I see something where I'm like, God, this feels new and original and, like, not the same shit over and over again.
And again, I wouldn't even necessarily say Elio is the most original movie in the world. Because, again, there's a lot of Lilo and Stitch DNA in there, and they use a lot of, like, visual language from, like, Steven Spielberg, E.T., a lot of, like, The Thing, a lot of Alien movies. I even
got some Iron Giant vibes, too.
But it comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of respect. It comes from a place of yes and.
It comes from a place of that, respect specifically. And it was influence, not carbon copy. It wasn't reference, hey, look at this thing. See, we did the reference.
Yeah, like, we would catch on stuff, but it never felt like it was, like, unearned.
Yeah, it just felt like
we got, like, a Terminator thumbs up, and I'm just like, oh, no, that's funny.
That's funny. We got a little, like, alien coming out of John Hurt moment, in a very charming way. They paid homage to some, like...
they did Star Wars.
They did Star Wars, they did E.T., they did, like I said, Iron Giant. They did a lot, where I was like, yeah, these people knew their references, they knew what they were going for.
It didn't feel like... I guess what the reference is, they felt like, even if they weren't a reference, they would be a moment in character.
Yeah, if they felt right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just... This was the thing. This was something that just didn't feel... And we were talking about this because you kept saying people keep giving it, like, these less than perfect scores. And again, like, everything
It's not everything can be perfect.
I did give it a 5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, which tends to be, like, not something I tend to do. I do my stars, like, I'll give it a 3 out of 5 if I'm like, that was a movie and I didn't hate it. I will give, like, a 4 out of 5 if I feel like something really big just was sort of missing. And then I'll give it, like, a 4.5 out of 5 if I'm like, there's just something I can't put my finger on that just wasn't there that I needed. And I think maybe Materialists I rated like 4 out of 0.5 or something. I don't know, but the fact that you were like, I don't understand. Everyone's like, this is good, and then they're giving it like a less than perfect score.
Yeah, I also walked out of Elio, and I think in my head, like, what out of 10, what would I give this movie? And my brain automatically goes a 10, and I'm like, I can't give it a 10, right? Like, I can't.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect, but, like, I'm getting the vibe that it's a 10, but, like, I can't put my finger on, like, anything that was wrong. Like, there's no feeling that something was wrong. This felt very perfect, and we did a little research in between our break, where we actually found a little bit more about the production, and we didn't realize they swapped directors partway through production. You could not tell.
When I saw the 2 directors' names, I thought it was a co-production.
It was co-production.
Yeah.
It was done by the person who did, I think it was Ryan Molino, who did Coco, and then Domi Shi, who did one of my favorite Pixar shorts, which is Bao, and I believe they also did Turning Red.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like, no, this is, like, I couldn't tell where the, like, and people were just like, yeah, this is where the scene was. And I'm like, if you hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah. Like, that was the whole thing, because typically, like, certain movies, you're kind of like, oh yeah, they really switched directors. Like we just watched a bunch of the X-Men, and you can tell when Bryan Singer is not there. Now, Bryan Singer is awful, but you can tell when he's not there. And you can tell, like, just like you can tell, like, even, like, with Marvel, there are certain directors that you know work well with certain superheroes, and you can tell when they're not there. This was not one of those moments. And I know we said, like, oh, they shelved it for Inside Out 2 instead.
Yeah.
I think it maybe was pushed because of the change in director. I think maybe they had enough for a teaser.
Yeah.
So we thought it was done. Yeah. And really, it was in a bit of production.
They were still cooking.
Struggles, yeah. They were still cooking, though.
Yeah. And it was so good. And this is also, like, the other thing that keeps getting me is the fact that this is another movie where I keep saying people are just like, yeah, it's a fun time for kids. And I'm like, no. Like, because there are clear adult themes here, or clear universal themes. Because, like, the theme of loneliness is a universal theme, but there's also this very deep theme of parenting, and how difficult it is to parent a child when you don't really understand them, and it's very difficult to understand them. You can't understand them, but you may still love them. That is a very consistent theme throughout the entire movie, and that is an adult theme. That is a theme you can't really process until you are an adult, and you have different relationships with your parents, or you're a parent yourself. That's not something that a kid is going to pick up on. This is one of the few Disney movies in recent memory that I feel like I wasn't watching a kid's movie. Like, I was watching a family, all-ages movie. And there is a difference. There is a difference. Because we saw some trailers for kids' movies beforehand.
And we were like, what is this?
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to point out was the casting. This was not, and this was similar with Elemental as well, this was not a stacked cast. The 3 biggest names, I would say, that were in this were Zoe Saldana, who plays the aunt, Brad Garrett, who plays Lord Grygon, and Jamila Jamil, who plays one of the aliens.
She's the red alien.
She was pink.
She's the, whatever the flappy one is.
Yeah, she was pink.
Yeah,
but,
she's cute.
Yeah, so, and I'm like, those were the 3 biggest names I recognized. Now, I recognize Shelby Young, because she's big on TikTok, and Brendan Hunt, because he's in Ted Lasso. But, these are much smaller parts. Whereas, like, other animated films, it's always, like, celebrity. Dwayne Johnson.
John Cena.
Like, they usually some of the worst ones have some of the most expensive casts that I've ever seen.
Because that's where the money's going.
Whereas Elio, I was like, and again, it was the same with Elemental. Elemental did not have a ton of big names in it. Which tells me also it was, like, story first.
Which is good. Which is what we want.
We want story first. Oh, and Shirley Henderson was one of them. But, like, these aren't, no disrespect to any of these people, these are not A-list celebrities.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Which is
good.
fine.
Which is good, actually. It's healthy.
It was also nice to not, like, hear a voice and immediately picture the person in the booth.
Yeah.
Because I did not pick up on Zoe Saldana.
No, I didn't either.
I thought, in my head, I was like, this feels like an America Ferrera type.
Which, she was the original cast.
And she was the original choice for that part.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can tell.
Yeah.
I think the future for Pixar has to be story first. It's gotta be. It's gotta be story first.
But the cynic in me wants to say that this is kind of the send-off for story first Pixar. And I think I said that before. But that's my biggest worry, is that, like, again, it's numbers and data, and they're like, well, no one went to go see Elio, so let's just keep making sequels. Let's just keep piggybacking off of what else is successful, instead of making something as unique as this. Again. Because, again, the next unique things we have coming out, we have Hoppers, which, again, no one's been talking about, which is next year. I'm cautiously optimistic for Hoppers, because it does seem like, again, original premise.
And it's, like, weird.
It's a weird premise.
It's a weird one. Yeah.
Little girl becomes a beaver. Very fun.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the I just know they're coming, the sexual jokes.
Yeah.
For that one. Not looking forward to that, but it's fine.
But their only other original piece that I think they've advertised for is Gato, which is reheating Flo's nachos a bit from just what they've been showing. Because they've only been showing some art.
Yeah, and Gato's slated for 2027, and all we have is a piece of concept art.
Basically, yeah. And again, it's by the same guy who did Luca, and Luca did Slay. So, like...
Luca was really good, and so it does explain why it's set in Italy again, because...
Yeah.
Listen, if it's close and personal to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
But, yeah, it's just... And then everything else that's announced for Pixar is, like, sequel. It's Coco 2, it's Toy Story 5. Or we've
Frozen
got...
3. I know that's not a Pixar.
That's not Pixar, that's Disney. But we also have Moana 3? Hold on.
Wait, sorry, I'm on IMDb right now just looking.
Moana... Oh, no, that's Minions 3.
That's Minions 3.
Thank God.
We knew, which we all knew was gonna happen.
Yeah, they just do that. But, yeah. So, I worry that basically they are... I worry that they're purposely training audiences to become complacent so they don't have to make these originals, and they can just basically keep out pumping things that they want to make money off of. Because, like, even we're getting Incredibles 3, and we're getting Brad Bird writing, but he's not directing.
Peter Sohn is directing, so that is my only little piece of, like, hope. Because he is... Peter Sohn? That's who it is? He was responsible for... It is going to be... So it's written by Brad Bird.
Yes.
It's going to be directed by Peter Sohn. Peter Sohn is best known for...
You can expand his...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Expand his discography. It's up.
His what?
Or filmography, sorry.
I was like,
Yes, his mixtapes. His mixtapes.
He did... Finding
Wall-E.
Nemo. Oh my god, this guy's got banger after banger. Well, The Good Dinosaur, but
Yeah.
I like it. It's very gorgeous to me. But he also has Lightyear, and he did Elemental. So
It's a mixed bag.
he's got a nice mixed bag, but he's got a good track record with
Pixar.
With Pixar.
So, like, that's fine. That's fine. But it's still, again, we're getting sequel after sequel after sequel. At least it's still Brad Bird being connected to it, because that's kind of his baby.
Yeah, he's busy.
But, yeah, so I worry. We also need to see Win or Lose, because we have not watched that yet, which is their TV show that they put on Disney+. Yes. And again, on Disney+.
No advertising.
No advertising at all.
I see advertising on Disney Channel itself, and that's it.
I get advertisements when the ads are trying to get me to watch Disney+, they're like, hey, you want to see this Marvel show? You want to see this Star Wars show? And I'm like, no, I don't, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to get me to open Disney+. Because they think I'm a 12-year-old boy, again. But, again, like, all this animated stuff, they don't advertise it. At least not well. I mean, I've seen Zootopia's teaser in quite a few places.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's a sequel. And, again, if a sequel's good, then a sequel's good. I just think that we're relying too heavily on IP that's already available, rather than letting people tell their own stories.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And this felt like... Elio felt like its own story.
It did. It felt... yeah, I was... And again, Yeah, I can't even say. I feel like we've said all that there is to be said.
Yeah.
Like this is the thing I think I really struggled with this episode because like especially like talking about Snow White because we had a lot of gripes with Snow White. I also think this is why like rage bait is such a thing now because there's more to say when you dislike something. I think
because you could talk about why you dislike it. What would you fix? Again, Elio, I walked out of that saying 10 out of 10. No notes, none at all.
Yeah. Like it just makes me kind of like sad for everything else. Like I've got things on my docket that I'm interested to see in the next year. Not just animated stuff, but like just movies in general. But I know it's like not stuff that's gonna get attention. Like Materialists, which I saw last week, which is the Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, Pedro Pascal, was a really interesting film. I honestly wished, like, I told you, I was like, I can't wait till it comes on streaming or comes to on demand so I can watch it again and actually really pick it apart. Because I thought, did I think it was perfect? No. Which is why I want to see it again just to see how I feel not on a first watch. But I'm seeing so many, like, complaints where people are just like, this isn't a rom-com. And I'm like, it wasn't gonna be.
It's not. It's a drama.
It's a drama-ish. It was advertised kind of rom-com-like, but to me it seems more aligned with, like, these other sort of small indie films to me. Like,
it's an A24 bit, isn't it?
It's an A24, yeah. But I think people see two very popular hot actors and a very popular actress and they do play up, like, love triangle, kind of, but it's not really a love triangle in my mind. But it was just, it gave really interesting meditations on love and value and what dating is now and how transactional it's become. And not that it hasn't always been, and they discussed that too. I liked it. Like, it just, again, it made me feel really interested. I don't think I think if they hadn't had these three actors, it wouldn't have gotten as much time in theaters as it has. Like, I genuinely was like, if this was, because Celine Song, who wrote and directed this, did Past Lives, which won Oscars, but it's not, the only reason why I know anybody I know has seen it is because I'm just friends with a lot of film nerds. If I talk to some dude on the street and say, do you know Past Lives? He doesn't know what that is. Like, or a random girl on the street. Like, they don't know what that is.
She'll just say, my past life was Cleopatra.
Yes. But this is what I'm saying, like, and Elio, again, Disney is the biggest studio ever. PIXAR. It's all one thing now.
Basically.
Let's be honest. Like, this is as mainstream as you can get. And this thing is being outshined by DreamWorks' How to Train Your Dragon live action, which nobody asked for.
And Lilo and Stitch. Which, again, nobody asked for. Yeah, and it's there was somebody I work with who, like, didn't even know they were making a Moana live action, and I said, yeah, it's done. It's coming out fairly soon. And she's like, I didn't even know they were making one. So this is what I mean, like, the regular film goer is not paying attention. Not that you, like, and I get that, like, we work in the arts. So we're gonna obviously notice all these things and be reading the trades and, like, seeing, you know, the news and all this stuff. Whereas, like, other people are getting, like, clickbaited by, like, fake movie news where they're just like, they're making this other thing, which is really not. They're making Stay Puft Marshmallow Man as, like, a movie.
Yeah, I don't know. They might. I don't put anything past anybody now these days. But yeah, the average, and the thing is, the people who are driving the box office aren't the fans.
No, it's not. It's general audiences.
It's general audiences. And this is why, like, we're literally on our knees, crying, screaming, throwing up, begging you. I need you to think about what you are consuming and if you are actively engaging with it. Because are you watching something because... Are you watching something familiar so you don't have to engage? Because it seems like that's what's happening. Is people are like, well, I've already seen the original version of this, so at least I can turn my brain off a bit. Yeah. And I get that, like, you know, there's a lot of things where people are like, I don't want to be challenged. There's a lot of that in the air right now, which is, I just don't want to be challenged. I want to be entertained.
Yeah, my boss, basically, right after Lilo and Stitch live action came out, she's just like, oh yeah, I went to go see live action Lilo and Stitch. Have you seen it yet? Because she knows I'm a huge Disney nerd. And I said no, and she's like, oh, well, why not? I thought it was really good. And I'm just like, I literally told her, I'm just like, I just don't like the live action remakes. I think they're kind of disrespectful. And I just kind of left it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of moved on from it. But I'm just like, I'm like, I don't understand just going to something just because it's there. Like, I don't understand that. Not engaging with what you're going to go see. Like, usually when I go to a movie, it's like an event for me. And it's not just me going to it just because, like, oh, well, I recognize this IP, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah, it's... it's this thing of, I was talking to my friend the other day where I was talking about how kind of disjoint... I think we also talked about this before, where I said when I started going to theater school, going to see theater as an experience sort of changed for me because you start to notice when something is subpar.
Yes.
Like, when you start to know how things are made, you start to notice cracks and things. And, like, does that make it not as fun? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I can't go back. But there was this certain thing of, like, I was talking to them where I was just like, I'm not a good judge of quality of stuff even I make, because people will tell me it's good, and I'm like, is it good, or can you just not do that?
Yeah.
Do you just not have the skills? And I think that's why a lot of, with general audiences, and this is not an insult, general audiences do not have those skills. Which is why you go see a movie. You can't make a movie, so you go see a movie. So I think sometimes they sit there and they're just like, that looks like a movie, so it's good. Then there's also the people who will just be like, this is trash, because they don't understand how it's made. But, like, it's... I do think it's that general audience thing where they're just like, I don't have time to care about all this nitty-gritty stuff. I just want to be entertained. But then I don't think anybody knows what quality is anymore. Like, it's just really, I just don't think people do.
Well, it's kind of like fast fashion, because, like, I've had people ask me and just be like, is this brand fast fashion? And it's like Victoria's Secret. And I'm like, yes, Victoria's Secret is fast fashion. If you can find it in a mall, it's probably fast fashion. And they're like, well, it feels really high quality. And I'm just like, well, you don't really know what quality is. And most of us can't afford quality at this moment.
Yeah.
But with movies and TV shows, and I also run in this with gaming spaces, because there are so many people who keep falling into, as I've been calling it, the gotcha game trap. And I'm saying this as a gotcha gamer, or former gotcha gamer. I'm in recovery. I'm currently in outpatient group therapy, you know. But they just released the Persona 5 gotcha game for Americas. And everyone's so excited for it. They're like, oh my god, they have all these characters and stuff like that, and it's Persona 5 all over again. And I'm just like, but what? Like, it's just Persona 5. It's not, they didn't do anything new with it. It's just Persona 5 and a bunch of random characters. Like, it's not what we could have Persona 6 by now. And it's just, it feels weird. The way that art has just become, like, just turn your brain off and consume. And as an artist, I just don't like that. I don't like that, especially because, like, when I try to tell a story, I try to put a lot of effort into it. I do a lot of research, and I try to make sure that everything's, you know, portrayed as accurately and respectfully as I can from the person I am, because I'm only human. But the fact that, like, I could probably put in all this effort, and people just wouldn't care because it's just something that they can just... It's Lay's potato chips. You just eat them because they're salty and they're crunchy and they're there, even though they're just, like, covered in oil and not even that good.
Cape Cod potato chips. Truthers.
Yes.
We love a Cape Cod.
Even Utz. Utz is better.
Yeah, it doesn't really, like, feel as bad. I... Like I said, and, like, I work in regional theater. We are working with the budget we have. I have not seen the numbers yet. And the stuff we managed to accomplish with nothing is crazy to me.
You guys had, like, a whole diner set at one point.
Yeah. Whole diner set. They built a whole, like, nice-ass kitchen, suburban kitchen, with full appliances and apparently a sink that ran.
Oh, wow.
Because I saw water come out of that thing. Like, there was stuff with, like, appliances, like, working appliances, I'm fairly sure. And I'm just, like, every time I go into that stage, like, it looks entirely different. They completely transform the space. I mean, you've been to a few of the... It looks different every time you go, right?
Yeah, we saw Christmas Carol is kind of like your bread and butter.
Yeah.
And that has a different set than I saw Romeo and Juliet for Mother's Day, and that has a completely different set. And I saw 2.5 minute ride, completely different set.
Mhm.
Everything's different. And I mean, that's just the glory of theater as well.
Yeah. But they transform the
Yeah.
space completely.
Yeah.
And when we do Sweeney Todd next year, they're going to go back to proscenium stage, so it's going to look entirely different.
My goat.
I hope it's good. Yeah, like, and I still get complaints from people. Or, like, certain things where we, during our season, well, now it's going to be 2 years ago, we had, like, an actor get injured, so the director hopped on with the script and did it himself. And then someone had the audacity to complain to me, and then this was during previews. They were like, I don't like being in previews because there was some guy with a script. And I was like, I don't think you understand what just happened there.
Yeah.
If someone's on stage with a script, that means, like...
Something's gone horribly wrong.
Something has gone horribly wrong, not because of the quality of the piece, but because human error, and we have limited resources.
Yeah.
Like somebody was injured, and he jumped in that night with no prep.
No hesitation.
And they said he did most of it kind of like he could put the script down because a lot of it involved cooking, so he could keep the script on the table and no one really noticed. But it was just like, do you not know? Do you not know what goes into this?
Do you not care?
Do you not care? And it's crazy to me. And I mean, like, we'll talk to, you know, people who don't, like, or, like, because a lot of us who work there did theater growing up. And I was talking to someone who was, like, maybe a donor or someone, I'm not sure exactly what their role with the theater was, but, like, a few years ago, and they're just like, oh my gosh, how do you memorize all those lines? Like, these are people who have never done it. Not even in a peripheral sense. They've never done it. And it's... like, it's like, not to say, like, listen, filmmakers and artists and stuff are not on the same level as, like, scientists and doctors, but we do serve a purpose, and there is a skill involved.
It's also, like, what I think about, like, AI art and AI writing and stuff like that, where people, especially with AI art, where someone's just like, well, I use AI art because I'm a Dungeons & Dragons DM, and I want realistic-looking character portraits. And I'm just like, why, though? Why do they have to be realistic looking? And he's like, well, I don't have the skill to go and do it. I don't have the time to go draw it. And I'm just like, no. That's not what I'm telling you to do. Why can't you just use MS Paint? And he's like, well, it won't look good. And I'm just like, so you understand that there's, like, a technical aspect to this. But you just don't respect the technical aspect. You just want, again, your Lay's potato chips. You don't want to peel the potatoes even though it's going to taste better.
Yeah, it's that thing of, like, there's that, I can't believe I'm going to bring this up, there's that Bluey episode where the kids are like, we want Freezy Pops or something. They're like, we want ice cream. And he's like, well, go get a job and work for it. And they're like, no, we want ice cream. So Bandit does Ragdoll, where he just goes boneless, essentially, and makes the kids, like, push him out the door, get him in the car, all this stuff. And they have to basically work to get his ass to the ice cream store. And they're like, okay. He's like, now taste it. And it tastes, like,
really good.
Really, really good, because they worked so hard to get this ice cream. They committed, and they were going to get this ice cream. And it's like, people don't understand the dopamine hit you get when you achieve something like that.
There's a fan fiction that I'm writing currently, and every so often I'll just read the comments on that, and, like, whenever I get a new comment, I ride that high for at least 12 hours. 12 to 72 hours. I am just grinning to myself, because I'm just like, I tricked people into thinking I write good.
Yeah, well, like, even, like, being able to, like, when I make recordings and I practice, like, singing and things like that, or, like, when I figure out how to, like, play a new song, or, like, all these different things, something happens to your brain. Like, it hits. When I was taking pictures of the fireworks when we went to Disney last year with my new lens, and I was really trying to figure out how to, like, get good lighting and stuff, and I caught, like, just a great moment. Now, the picture was still fuzzy. Like, it was a little fuzzier than I would have wanted it to be, and granted, I knew I didn't have all the tools at my disposal, but God, I captured a great moment, and it didn't look half bad.
Yeah.
That's, like, a huge, like, the look on my face, getting, like, you knew me before that, I was really grumpy trying to find a spot, like, I was stuck in this crowd, I'm too short, it was really hard to get, like, photos over people's heads, but, like, my face lit up when I caught that moment. Like, people don't understand, like, the high you get from gaining a skill.
And the thing is, it doesn't even have to be an artistic skill. I was at my friend's house this weekend, and he basically just like, I have you hostage. I'm going to make you try all my favorite things. And there was one thing that he really likes. He really likes Donkey Kong. So he's like, listen, I'm just going to sit you down and I'm going to have you play a level of Donkey Kong. If you don't like it, that's fine. I just want you to play the level. I died 25 times in a row. I wasted half the lives he has on that save file because I'm not good at platformers. And there were points where, like, I would get to a really difficult section and he'd be like, hey, you've died like 10 times already. Do you want me to just take over? And I'm just like, no. Like, I understand what I need to do. I need to do it myself. I'm like, it's my pride. It's not, I'm sure you could get it done faster. I have to do it. I don't even like this game. It's not really my thing, but I have to do it. I have to have the experience. I cleared the level. Took me like 15 minutes, but I cleared the level. And again, it's a dopamine hit. It is a dopamine hit because everything is work. Everything is work. My friend likes to bake bread. Everything is work. Also, his bread tastes really, really good. You even had it. It was good.
Oh, the focaccia?
The focaccia, yeah. It's work. Everything is work.
By the way, this guy works a full-time job.
Oh, yeah, he works a full-time job. Hi, Nick.
Does he know about the podcast?
He does know about the podcast. I'm not sure how much he listens, but hi, Nick.
But, like, this is what I say, because people are just like, who has the time? Who has the energy? Any of this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm telling you, and, like, this is coming from an ADHD person who has heard this their entire life. If you care, you will make the time and the energy. I have had an exhausting week. I have not rested since we got back from vacation. It is crazy because the second I went back to work, stuff went nuts. I am exhausted, and then I have to start getting up early tomorrow because this is good news. I did get a promotion. So, like,
You got a full-time job!
I got a full-time job. So, like, I'm gearing up to, like, keep up with these and my creative endeavors while working a 9-to-5 now. And I'm like, I was scared. I was genuinely scared, being like, oh God, am I going to have more time or less time for the things I like to do? Because the things that make my life worth living.
Yeah.
Not doom scrolling. And eventually I was like, we're gonna learn and we're gonna adapt and we're gonna figure it out. Because
we ball.
Fuck it, we ball. It's important to me. And that's what I'm saying. Like, when people are just like, who has the time, who has the energy, who has whatever, it is way too easy to become complacent. I'm telling you. The world gets a lot better when you have things you care about, that you want to do, and that you actually protect.
Yes.
And take the time to, like, make sure other things don't ruin that thing for you.
And they don't have to be perfect.
They don't have to be perfect.
Just get some Play-Doh and make a little guy out of Play-Doh. Impress your ancestors.
Make a little bracelet or whatever. Like,
do like a 10-minute cookie recipe.
Something with your hands.
Yeah, something that you
can't
can
stress this enough.
Yeah.
Can't stress this enough. With your hands.
Yeah.
Cannot stress this enough. Like, I was trying to pick up lock picking. You think I'm gonna put that on a resume? Maybe. I don't know. But, like, I can't think of where that would be profitable. But, like, it's, you know, it's fun. And it's something to do with my hands.
I do illustration work and I do sketching. I fucking hate working in perspective. I am trying to draw backgrounds now. It sucks. But when it hits, it hits.
Yeah, there's something to be said for, like, again, like, you're working on something really difficult and then you go, oh. When it clicks, like, your brain has an orgasm. It's crazy.
It's better than heroin.
It really is. I'm telling you, go make something with your hands.
Go do it.
Go outside.
No, you have 2 homework assignments. 1, buy a ticket to Elio. 2, make something with your hands. Post it. Tag it. Like, come on.
Do something. We're screaming. We're screaming at you.
Your brain is rotting in your skull.
Never in my life have I yelled at a girl like this. I was rooting for you.
But, yeah. I think we've gone off track.
I think we really have. But, like, Elio restored my faith in some ways, because I was just like, oh, this does still exist. People are still making these things. It's nice to know that these creatives haven't gotten, like, so resigned to the status quo. Yeah. I'm glad that, like, in 2025, stuff like this can still be made. And go out in theaters. Even if it's not, like, the most profitable thing ever. Well, hell, even, like, Thunderbolts. Again, coming from Marvel, one of the biggest things ever. Thunderbolts is still considered one of the worst Marvel openings.
It was okay.
For you, it was okay. But I'm talking, in terms of, like, the fans who go to every single one, they were like, no, that was a better one. And it didn't feel like the other 6 I just saw. And we're still getting, like, well, it didn't make its budget back. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, doesn't this say something? Like,
I do want to say, going into the trailer again with an open mind, Fantastic Four is not something I'm going to go see, but it looked different. It felt different than everything else. Like, there are still people making stuff, even in, like, these well-known IPs that are, like, people have stuff to say. People have stuff to say, and they can still say it. And I think we're going to also see that with Superman later, which that's going to be coming out sometime in July.
That's July 11th. It's on my sticky note over there,
Ooh,
July 11th. Yeah, which again, I thought I was going to, like, see with a good break in the middle. Nope, I am leaving work. And then I get, like, maybe an hour or so, and then we go see the movie, because now I work more hours. So it's...
Yeah, congratulations.
And I'm just like, look, like, and immediately my first thought when I got this promotion was, one, you know, money and benefits and all that. But also I was like, oh, am I going to have time for the things that I love? Is this going to help, or is this going to hurt the things that I love?
Well, the future's uncertain.
Yes. Well, for all we know, I could be back here in 6 months saying, hey, I quit.
Yeah.
But who knows? But it's in a field I like, and, you know, how many people can say that right now? So it's...
Not me.
Yeah. So it's... I'm telling you, you have to make it important.
Make it important. Go see good art, and then go make art.
Go see good art, talk about it.
Talk about it.
Maybe not just with your art friends, because unfortunately that's just preaching to the choir. But, like, talk about it to your friends who maybe aren't as into that stuff.
Tell your friends with kids.
Tell your friends with kids to go see Elio. If they're thinking, maybe I'll go see Lilo, take them to see Elio.
Yes.
I swear, you will not regret it.
Yes.
It's that good. This is what I'm saying. Like, it's definitely, like, we had like, PIXAR, we're so back.
We are so fucking back, guys. The pendulum has swung. We'll see where it goes.
We'll see where it goes. But...
I think that's,
That was our review slash discussion of Elio and the state of art in general. I feel like all of these episodes devolve into just, like...
Yeah, us ranting.
Us ranting, being like, I swear, like, do not go quiet into that good night. I swear to God.
Rage against the dying of the light.
Go see good shit. Yeah. So, anyways, time to go into the plug portion of the episode. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we are at Kill Your Normie Pod. We are also on Blue Sky at Kill Your Normie Pod. Yes, you set it up.
Kill Your Normie, I think.
Oh, it's just at Kill Your Normie, not Kill Your Normie Pod.
Check.
We could actually check. It is killyournormie.bluesky.social.
Yes.
We will try to be better.
We will try to be better.
About posting.
Yeah. What's your personal? Do you want to plug your personal?
Lindsey Taft Music. That's, like, my personal Instagram. So if you want to see all the plays and stuff I'm seeing, that is there.
My personal Blue Sky is 2am Rainbow at bluesky.social, and I also recently restarted my art Tumblr, which is 2am Rainbow-official at tumblr.com.
Nice.
So
Yeah, and you can follow me at Lindsey Taft Music pretty much everywhere.
yeah.
So great. So next episode, let's see, what were we doing for next episode?
I think we're doing Superman.
Actually, no.
We're not doing Superman.
Okay, so this is going to be our event. Oh yeah, next episode will be Superman, but we are going to be releasing the Superman episode right when we're in the middle of Kineticon. We are going to be at Kineticon 2025.
Yeah, come say hi.
At the Connecticut Convention, or the Hartford Convention Center in Hartford, Connecticut. We love a New England convention. We don't have anything, like, official going on.
No, we don't have a booth or anything. We're just gonna be there lurking.
We're gonna be there lurking. We've got little QR cards with links to the Substack. If you want, like, a cute little card with the Kill Your Normie art, come find us.
Come find us.
Come find us. We'll be walking around, and then we'll be doing coverage of Kineticon August 1st.
I'll give you a fist bump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come find us. One of these days I will be dressed as Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
One of those days, because I've really wanted to cosplay her for
I will be in street clothes.
You're not cosplaying this time?
No, I don't have really anything planned, so.
Okay. But yeah, come see us at Kineticon. Follow us on our socials. We'll put that in the show notes as well. And go see Elio.
Oh my god, please. Please, that's your homework.
We will see you in 2 weeks.
Yep. Okay, I love you. Bye.